In this video, we will take a look at a few examples. In the previous video, we understood what a vector space is in the sense that we had a formal definition laid down for vector space. Now, in this video, we'll have a look at few more examples. And we'll also see a few sets of vectors which are not vector spaces. So the first example is, it's an extension of R2 which we discussed in the previous video. So in the previous video we saw that R2 is the set of all the vectors made up of real numbers in two-dimensional space is a vector space by definition. So if you extend that, the set of vectors in the n-dimensional space, real vectors, that is the components which are real, will comprise a vector space. So in this case, that is when you have Rn, a vector in general would be expressed as x1, x2, xn. So the R2 case becomes a special case of this, n was equal to 2. And we can define vector addition as we defined earlier in the case of R2 in the example in the previous video, and we can define scalar multiplication the same way as we explained in the or as we defined it in the case of R2 in the previous video. So Rn becomes a vector space when we define addition and multiplication like this. So it's just an extension of the R2 case, which means that R3, R4 and all these can be classified as a vector space. Now the next example is one where we tweak the definition. We go for a different definition for vector addition and scalar multiplication. So in this example, let's say that we have R2, that is we are dealing with the set of vectors in the 2D space, and we define, so just to quickly recall, in the previous video we defined vector addition like this, and multiplication of a vector by a scalar where alpha is a real scalar, we defined it like this. And when we defined it like this, we saw that the set of vectors in two-dimensional space were comprising a vector space. Now here what we are doing is we are going to alter the definition and we are going to define the vector addition like this. So x1 plus y1, and I had explained what is x and y, vector x and y in 2D space, how we represent them in general. So when we add, we define the addition like this: x1 plus y1 and x2 into y2. So we are going to multiply the x2 and y2 terms, and x1 plus y1, that is x1 and y1, we will just add. Similarly, when it comes to multiplication, instead of the scalar multiplication which we defined like this in the previous video, in this example we will say that we are going to define scalar multiplication like this. So alpha into x1 and x2 is left as it is. If you want to have an example, let us say that x is equal to 1, 2 and y is equal to 0.5 and 1. Now if I add x and y, if I add these two vectors as per the way we have defined it here, the result will be x1 plus y1, that is 1.5, and x2 into y2, that is 2. This will be the result. That is the way we are defining the addition. So as I said in the previous video, I said towards the end, I remember that I said that it is not necessary that you have to define addition and multiplication the way we defined it there. It's also possible to define it in a different way. So that's what we are experimenting with here. And if it is a scalar multiplication that we are thinking of, let us say our x is something like 0.5 and 1, and alpha is minus 2. Remember, alpha has to be a real number. So alpha into x, when we define scalar multiplication like this, will be 0.5 into minus 2, that is alpha is minus 2, x1 is 0.5, minus 2 into 0.5 will give you minus 1, and in place of, instead of writing rather 1 into minus 2, if it was the way we defined earlier, scalar multiplication, in this case if you see we are just defining the result like alpha into x1 and x2 is there as it is. So 1 will be there as it is. This is what the result will be. Now what we see is that one property can be straight away confirmed. Confirmed in the sense we can see that the set of real vectors in 2D space, if we define addition and the vector addition and scalar multiplication like this, satisfies the closure property, because this will be a real number because x1 and y1 are real, and this product will also be a real number because x2 and y2 are real. So this will be closed. The way we have defined addition is closed, and multiplication alpha is real, x1 is real. So this will be real, and x2 is anyhow a real number. So this will also be real, which means that this will also be closed. Because I say closed because this result as well as this result, these results are in R2 itself, which means that the closure property is satisfied. Now we have to see whether the other 8 properties are satisfied, and if those other 8 properties are also satisfied, the set of vectors in R2, that is the two-dimensional space, the set of vectors, real vectors in R2 will comprise a vector space when we define x plus y like this, and that is vector addition like this, and scalar multiplication like this. Just to reiterate, in the previous case, in the previous video, we saw that the set of two-dimensional vectors made up of real components, that is the real two-dimensional vectors, constituted a vector space when we defined x plus y and alpha x the way we defined it there. So now what we have done is we have slightly varied the definition of addition and multiplication itself, vector addition and scalar multiplication itself, and we have seen that the closure property is satisfied. Now if all the other 8 properties are also satisfied, the set of vectors in R2 will satisfy or will constitute a vector space even if we have defined the addition and scalar multiplication like this. So that's what we are going to see. So we are going to see whether those 8 conditions are satisfied. We will take those conditions one by one and see whether they get satisfied. Some of these conditions are straightforward. So let us take the first case, x plus y has to be equal to y plus x. Now this will be easily satisfied. Let us verify quickly. X plus y, this is x plus y, and we have already defined it to be x1 plus y1, x2, y2. This is the definition. And y1, y2 plus x1, x2, that is the right hand side. This will be equal to the way we have defined the addition, y1 plus x1 and y2 into x2. These two will be the same. So they are equal to each other, which means that this property is satisfied. Now that property being satisfied, we will move on to the next property. We will pick up those properties one by one. And x plus y plus z has to be equal to x plus y plus z. This is the next property. Now here x is this. I'll first write the left hand side. X is this plus y plus z. We can skip an intermediate step and write, because by this time we know how they have defined it. So y1 plus z1 and y2 z2, that is y plus z. And this will be equal to, so remember this is the left hand side I am writing, and this will be equal to x1 plus y1 plus z1, because now this becomes a separate vector. So when you add the way we have defined, this component is getting added to this component, and that is the result of this. And the x2 and this component will get multiplied to each other, because that's the way we have defined addition, and the result is x2 y2 z2. And now we look at the right hand side. Now we take a look at the right hand side. So right hand side will be, if I write similarly by skipping that intermediate step, x plus y will be x1 plus y1 x2 y2 plus z1 z2, which gives us x1 plus y1 plus z1 and x2 y2 into z2, x2 y2 into z2, which means that these two are equal to each other. The left hand side is equal to right hand side. This property is also satisfied. Now the next property is alpha into x plus y is equal to alpha x plus alpha y. Now let's concentrate on the left hand side first. Alpha into x plus y will be, again I will straight away write the result, x1 plus y1 x2 y2. This is the left hand side, that will be equal to the way we have defined scalar multiplication, alpha into x1 plus y1, that is alpha x1 plus alpha y1, and alpha into x2 y2, that this just turns out to be x2 y2, because if you just flip back, you will see that this is the way we have defined this scalar multiplication. So this is what we get for left hand side, left hand side. Now we concentrate on the right hand side. So right hand side gives alpha into x plus alpha into y is equal to, again the way we have defined scalar multiplication, alpha x1 x2 plus alpha y1 y2, and the way we have defined vector addition, we will end up getting alpha x1 plus alpha x2 x2 y2. You can see that this is the same as this. So left hand side is equal to right hand side, which means that this property is also satisfied. So we see that one by one the properties are being satisfied, even if we have tweaked the definition of vector addition and scalar multiplication. So far so good. Now let's go on to the verification of the next property. Alpha into beta x is equal to alpha beta into x. So left hand side, when I take alpha and beta x, I will write straight away. Beta is a scalar, it's a real scalar. So beta into x will be, the way we defined the scalar multiplication, beta x1 x2, which is equal to, this is the continuation of the left hand side, which is equal to, again it is a scalar multiplied with a vector, which turns out to be alpha beta x1 into x2. And now we look at the right hand side, alpha beta into x. So alpha beta into x gives us alpha beta x1 x2. So we see that there are no steps here. Just the way we have defined it, we just get the answer straight away. These two are equal to each other. Left hand side is equal to right hand side, which means that this property is also satisfied. Again, so far so good. Now next we'll move on to the next property. Alpha plus beta x is equal to alpha plus beta into, so I will write down the right hand side, I'm sorry, alpha plus beta into vector x has to be, alpha and beta are real scalars, the result has to be, this property has to be satisfied. This is the result that we expect. Right hand side has to be this. So let's concentrate on the left hand side. Alpha plus beta into x will be alpha plus beta. Remember, alpha and beta are real scalars. x1 x2. The result will be alpha plus beta x1 x2. The way we define the scalar multiplication, which will be equal to alpha x1 plus beta x1 x2. Now let's look at the right hand side. Alpha into vector x, where alpha is at the same real scalar alpha here, the result will be alpha x1 x2. By this time we know what is how the scalar multiplication is defined, and we don't have to write each and every small individual step. So alpha into vector x is alpha x1 x2 plus beta into vector x will be beta x1 x2. Now remember that we are concentrating on the right hand side. Left hand side we already got. This is the result. Now when I do this, the result is the way we have defined vector addition: alpha x1 plus beta x1 x2 into x2. We see that there is some trouble arising. This will be equal to alpha x1 plus beta x1. If we want, we can write x2 square. Now we see that this is not equal to this, which is not equal to this. So these two are not equal to each other. So left hand side is not equal to right hand side, which means that if we define vector addition and scalar multiplication the way we defined in this example, at the beginning of this example, R2, the set of real vectors in two-dimensional space, do not qualify as a vector space. So you can see that though I said it's possible to define vector addition and scalar multiplication in other ways, if you don't define it properly, you will not end up getting a vector space. So, but I still say that it is indeed possible to define addition and scalar multiplication in a different way other than the way which we defined in the previous video, and still end up getting a vector space. Unfortunately, in this example, it doesn't happen so. Now that one property is violated, we don't have to check the rest of the properties because all those properties have to be satisfied. So that one of those properties being not satisfied, we don't have to spend our time verifying the other properties. Now we'll take on the next example. Now here in this example we will consider a few cases wherein we will have vectors which are slightly unconventional. So that will be clear when I treat the examples, when I take the examples one by one. The next example is set of all positive real numbers. Let us see whether the set of all positive real numbers, whether the set of all positive real numbers constitute a vector space. So these will be vectors with only one component, set of all positive real numbers. So an example of a positive real number is 2. Another example is 4. So the task that we have in our hands is to find out whether the set of all positive real numbers is a vector space. And to add, we have defined addition. So I will still write like this for a vector, though the vector that I have now is effectively a positive number, a single positive number. I will write vectors like this because symbolically this is how we represent vector. We define addition, by definition we are going to define the addition like this. And scalar multiplication we define like this. There is only one component, as I said, though I write the vector like this, it's just a positive real number. Y is also a positive real number. Alpha is a scalar which can be negative. And x multiplied by x is equal to x raised to alpha. That is the way we are going to define. So now, let us see whether the properties are satisfied, so that we can find out whether this set of positive real numbers qualify as a vector space. So first of all, closure is satisfied because this will be a real number, positive real number. because x and y are individually positive, and x is a positive real number, which if you raise it to alpha, where alpha is a real number, this will be a real number, a positive real number, because x is a positive real number and alpha is a real number. So you can see that it is closed under vector addition as well as scalar multiplication. The set is closed. That means the result of addition as well as scalar multiplication in general, the way we have defined it here, give you a result which is a positive real number. So closure is satisfied. Once closure is satisfied, we will check for the other properties. Let us see whether the other properties are satisfied. So quickly, x plus y has to be y plus x. I don't think I have to explain it. It will be satisfied because you have xy is equal to yx, the way we have defined addition. So this property is satisfied. X plus y plus z is equal to x plus y plus z. So we have to see whether this property is satisfied. Again, without much effort, we can show that the left hand side will be this and the right hand side will be this. Because y plus z will give you yz, x plus yz will be xyz. Similarly, this will give you xy within the brackets plus z will give you xyz. So this property is also satisfied. Next will be alpha into x plus y. Alpha into x plus y. Whether this property is satisfied. This will be alpha into x plus y will be, or rather, sorry, the right hand side has to be, I'm sorry, I didn't write the right hand side of the property. The right hand side says that if alpha into x plus y, if you do, you should get the result as alpha x plus alpha y. So left hand side, we get alpha x plus y will be xy. So alpha into xy, and the way we have defined scalar multiplication, this will be xy raised to alpha. That is nothing but x raised to alpha, y raised to alpha. Now when I come to the right hand side, alpha into x is x raised to alpha, and we are adding to it y raised to alpha. Because x raised to alpha and y raised to alpha. The sum, the way we have defined addition, the result will be x raised to alpha, y raised to alpha. So we can see that this property is also satisfied. Moving on, the next property is alpha into beta x. Alpha into beta x has to be alpha into beta x. So grouping. Now this will be alpha into beta x will be x raised to beta. The left hand side, I consider left hand side, it is alpha into x raised to beta, which becomes, again, the way we define scalar multiplication, it becomes x raised to beta, the whole raised to alpha, that is x raised to alpha beta. And the right hand side will be just alpha beta into x will be x raised to alpha beta, because this as a whole becomes a single scalar and this is a vector, so x raised to alpha beta. So again we see that these two are equal to each other, which means that this property is also satisfied. Now we have to see whether there is an additive identity. That is the next condition. There has to be a unique additive identity. So let's say this is the additive identity. I will write like this: additive identity. That is, additive identity means if you add any vector from the set with the additive identity, the result has to be x. So in conventional world, the way we deal with the conventional world, additive identity is 0, we know that. But let's see what happens now, because we have defined addition and vector addition and scalar multiplication in a different way. So we'll see what happens. Now, the way we have defined vector addition, this will be additive identity into x. That is the way we have defined vector addition. Remember that. And this result should give us x itself. That is what an additive entity is, and this clearly says that the additive identity is 1. So the real number 1 in the from the set the real positive real number 1 from the set of the real numbers that we are considering, set of all positive real numbers, plays the role of the additive identity. That plays the role of the additive identity, which means that we can call 1 as the 0 vector. I put it in inverted quotes because that plays the role of the 0 vector in our example. Remember, we have defined, don't lose track of what we have started with. We are trying to find out whether set of all positive real numbers is a vector space, and we have defined addition vector x plus vector y is equal to x into y, and scalar multiplication alpha into x as x power alpha. And the way, if we define it that way, we have seen so far that all the properties are satisfied. There is also a unique additive identity because no other number, positive real number, will satisfy this condition. There is also a unique additive identity, and we can call that additive entity as the 0 vector within inverted quotes. Now, next is whether there is an additive inverse. Let's see whether there is an additive inverse. So, additive inverse is such that if additive inverse, I'll write like this, additive inverse is added with the vector of which this is the additive inverse, the result has to be the additive identity. So in our case, the additive identity is 1. We have already found that the additive identity is 1. So additive inverse of a vector x is that vector, and remember the vector here is the set of all positive real numbers. So additive inverse of that vector x is such that if you add that x with this, I should get the result as 1, because 1 is our 0 vector. The result has to be the result of x and its additive inverse has to be the additive entity. Additive entity we have seen to be 1 in this case. That is the 0 vector within inverted quotes, which means that additive inverse into x, again the way we have defined the additive inverse plus x, rather the way we have defined the vector addition, this will be additive inverse into x, which is equal to 1, which has to be equal to 1 rather, which means that the additive inverse of a vector is just 1 by x. So for example, if I set of positive real numbers, that's what we are treating as a vector space now. That's what we are trying to find out whether it's a vector space. So if I take 3, let us say, its additive inverse is 1 by 3. And you can see that 3 plus 1 by 3, the way we have defined addition, becomes 3 into 1 by 3, which is equal to 1. And 1 we have already seen to be the additive identity. Again, to give an example of additive identity, how it functions, additive identity is 1. So 4 plus 1, the way we have defined vector addition here, I get the answer as 4 into 1, which is equal to 4. So I get the same vector, which means that 1 becomes the 0 vector in inverted quotes or the additive identity. And finally, we can also see that, of course, 1 into x will be, again the way we have defined the addition, x raised to 1, 1 into x will be the way we have defined the scalar multiplication, x raised to 1, that will be equal to x. So we can see that all the properties are satisfied. There is a unique additive identity, a unique additive inverse for each vector, and the other properties are also satisfied, which means that the set of all positive real numbers constitute a vector space. Now, quickly we will see some more examples. The next one is, these are all unconventional vectors, if I may say so. Set of all non-singular, set of all non-singular 2 by 2 matrices, set of all non-singular 2 by 2 matrices. Now it can be shown that, and we are going to define addition, vector addition and scalar multiplication the conventional way. So that means if I take any two matrices, vectors, so to say, that is now since we are dealing with set of all non-singular 2 by 2 matrices, a vector will be the same as a 2 by 2 matrix. So if I take any two 2 by 2 matrices from this set and add them, I am going to define vector addition the same way as we add normal matrices. So to be more specific, if this is one of the matrices and the other one is, remember these are all non-singular, so it goes without saying because I have mentioned it here. I am going to define addition by x11 plus y11, x12 plus y12, x21 plus y21, x22 plus y22. So they will sit as the four elements in the matrix, which is the result of adding these two. So that is the way we are defining addition. Now let us see whether the matrix, the set is closed under addition, the way we have defined addition. So I can show that it is not so by a simple example. Let us take 1, 2, 2, 1. Let's take this matrix. Now this is a non-singular matrix because its determinant is not 0. So determinant is 1 minus 4, that is minus 3, and the determinant is not 0, which means that this is a non-singular matrix. Let us add this to another non-singular matrix. This is another non-singular matrix because again its determinant is not 0. This is a non-singular matrix. The result is 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 0, 2, 2 plus 0, 2, 1 plus 1, 2. You can see that this is a singular matrix because the determinant is 0. Obviously, it is nothing but the same row repeated here. It is a singular matrix, which means that the set will not be closed under addition. So the set of all non-singular matrices, 2 by 2 matrices, if we define addition like this, will not be closed, will not be a vector space because the addition is not closed. The result of adding two non-singular matrices is not always a non-singular matrix. It is out of the set. So the set is not closed, so closure property is not satisfied. Next, set of all singular 2 by 2 matrices. Let us see whether the set of all singular 2 by 2 matrices constitute a vector space. We saw that the set of all non-singular 2 by 2 matrices need not constitute a vector space unless otherwise we define addition in some other way. So let's say take the case of set of all singular 2 by 2 matrices. Again, we can show that it is not a vector space by means of an example. This is a singular matrix. Determinant is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. Determinant is 0. So these are singular matrices. But if I add, the result is 1, 2, 2, 3. Now this determinant of this matrix is not 0. So 3 minus 4 is minus 1. So this is a non-singular matrix. These are singular matrices. So set of all singular 2 by 2 matrices is not a vector space because if we add any two from them, we are ending up getting a matrix which is not from that set. So it is not a vector space. It cannot qualify as a vector space unless otherwise you define the addition in some other way. The next example is set of all 2 by 2 matrices. Set of all 2 by 2 matrices where I define matrix addition like this: x11 plus y11, x12 plus y12, x21 plus y21, x22 plus y22. I define matrix addition like this and I define scalar multiplication like this. I define vector addition like this. I am dealing with set of all 2 by 2 matrices, 2 by 2 real matrices, let me emphasize, and alpha is a real scalar. I define like this. I leave it as an exercise. You find out whether this forms a vector space. I repeat the question: set of all 2 by 2 real matrices. The way, and we are going to define vector addition like this and scalar multiplication like this. Find out for yourself whether this constitutes a vector space. In the next video, we'll just take one more quick example and then move on with further discussions on vector space.